able to bend light.
He hunts by seeing our heat.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Now Playing presents the Predator Retrospective Series.
I've waited a lifetime for this, and I'm not going to miss the chance.
Join Stuart, Arnie, and Brock as they review all the Predator and Aliens vs. Predator films.
What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
These podcasts will be spoiler-filled and may contain objectionable language. Listener discretion is advised.
Come on. Do it. Do it!
Today we're talking about Predator, Killer of Killers, starring Lindsay Levanchi, Louis Zawa, Rick Gonzalez, Michael Bean, directed by Dan Trachtenberg. This is Brock, co-host of Now Playing.
And Stuart. And this is the Now Playing co-host who was birthed from an anus, Arnie.
Wow. Welcome back to our Predator retrospective series. It's been a few years since the last time we talked, but not that long since Prey came out. When did Prey come out? Like 2022?
Pray tell, when was that?
It was COVID, so it feels like it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, 2025, it was a badly kept secret. I remember hearing the whispers early that Dan Trachtenberg had not only made one Predator film, he made two. And what was the second one? It was some secret project. And right before I had all my medical complications this summer, I remember hearing it was an animated film and going, ugh, I guess we have to cover that.
I had heard it was a TV series, an anthology series being made for Hulu, and I was like, oh good, I don't have to watch that. And then you put it on the schedule, and it turned out it was an anthology movie, although, you know, we just talked about Marvel Zombies, which was 4 episodes that really was a movie, and here, this easily could have been split across 4 nights, or 4 episodes, and individual stories.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, yes, an animated movie going straight to Hulu in the middle of summer doesn't sound like a great thing, but I do remember lying in my hospital bed and thumbing through the internet and seeing that it had incredible critical response. 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, high marks from Metacritic. This was very, very well received. And so I was like, well, I guess if I get better enough to watch the movie, it won't be as bad as I think it would be.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this review, I have no interest in watching this, which is shocking because I really liked Prey. I really liked what Dan Trachtenberg, you know, who did the best Cloverfield movie, I think, 10 Cloverfield Lane. And he made one of the best, probably top 2 Predator films with Prey.
Wow.
There's only one Predator film, you know, whatever you want to say. Yeah, it was definitely the second best Predator film.
And because I liked Prey so much, I'm looking forward to Badlands, but a direct-to-streaming animated, even if it's from the same guy, it's just not my bag. So I just wouldn't have watched this if we weren't reviewing it.
And I absolutely would not have watched this unless we were reviewing it, because it's an anthology cartoon, and I love Star Wars. Everyone knows I love Star Wars. I have a lot of trouble watching that Star Wars Vision show on Disney+. It's so disjointed to me. I don't enjoy the short story animated format. We've also watched What If on Disney Plus for the Marvel, and some of those are pretty good, right? But other ones aren't. Just like any short story compilation, there are a couple of gems and everything else is just meh. And so knowing what this is, I was like, I'm not going to watch this. And then, of course, now we're talking about it. I'm glad we have a chance to talk about this, guys, but if it wasn't for Now Playing, I would never have turned this on.
I'll throw another bone in here, too, and maybe I stand alone in this, but Predator is just pretty meh in general. Like I said, to me it feels like one movie, and the star of it was Arnold, not the space alien. I think they've really struggled, try as they might. They've tried to tie it to my favorite space creature, but xenomorph body horror, this doesn't get into those areas. It really isn't a horror series. It's a series about having cool tech and having great ways to kill people, and that's just not my bag. I just don't care about this creature.
And I like the creature. I've always liked Predator. I do think that some of the video game associations and playing Predator and AVP in the late 90s and early 2000s increased my affinity for the Predator far more than Predator 2 ever did. But, we've reviewed all these movies. I like more than half of them. And so I'm always open to returning to this universe, even if it's a cartoon. I just get this huge Animatrix vibe off of this,
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good comparison.
Because it's interquel coming out with the same creatives, but doing different stories, different times.
It didn't go to theaters. If it was going to be really good, if it was really special, I mean, I've never heard of this animation house that put it out. I don't think it is an animation house. Third Floor Incorporated, what I've seen them involved with is doing animated sequences in live action blockbuster entertainment. They did Groot. They've done things in the Star Wars and Monsterverse, Detective Pikachu, but they haven't made an animated film before.
Neither has the software that was used for this, because this is done in a video game engine. I knew from some recent research that the Unreal Engine for games has been used a lot in doing special effects and 3D modeling and used for a lot more than just a game engine. But this is the first animated feature made wholly in the Unreal video game engine.
Huh. I don't know if everyone has this reference, but animatics, sometimes when movie makers want to conceptualize a really difficult scene, they'll have it animated in a more rudimentary computer style. It doesn't have the polish of a Hollywood animation studio feature film release. I'll just put it that way. Walt Disney, DreamWorks Animation, this ain't. That it came from video games, I can believe it. I was having some Tomb Raider flashbacks, honestly, during some of it.
Yeah, I would give credit, though, to this team in that they do a lot more with lighting and camera angles than I expected, not being from a major animation house. There are some very clever shot setups. It was clunky. The animation was more clunky than you're used to from a major motion picture animation studio. However, let's give them the credit they need for the amazing visuals they're able to generate. Different angles, top down, left, right, Dutch angles, the whole nine.
Up, down, left, right, BA, start.
Yes, the Konami code of special shots for them. I was very taken back by the lighting especially. I was very impressed with a lot of the lighting and the choices they made. A lot of where they pushed in, where they pushed out. A lot of these kind of directorial choices for an animated movie such as this was refreshing. Because it's not like What If. What If does not do it this way.
No, I'm gonna split the difference here. When I started this movie, I was having a problem. It reminded me of The Aviator. The movie was so stuttery, much like The Aviator started with that weird color palette and I thought my TV was broken. This movie was so stuttery and the motion was so the opposite of smooth that I thought maybe I was having bandwidth issues or my Apple TV was messing up, but I mean, I'm able to watch a lot on Disney Plus and Hulu without this. And so I was trying different devices and finally I just threw up my hands and I'm like, oh shit, I guess this just is low frame rate. But I will agree with you, Brock. Once that became comfortable for me to deal with, there are some really good detailed graphics here, some camera angles, some compositions. There's a lot of good things going here that the jitteriness of the motion undercut greatly.
Yeah, I want to underline that and go back to what I originally said. Well, we could talk about the direction of this movie as something separate. As far as visuals go, this would not pass the muster as a movie you would go to a movie theater and see and pay top ticket price for. It just isn't that good. But before we get to Badlands, that's next week. I guess we'll talk about Killer of Killers. Arnie, give them the plot.
Predator, Killer of Killers introduces us to 3 predator hunts over 3 periods of time. In the first segment, called The Shield, we're in 841 AD and meet Norse Viking warrior Ursa, who is on a mission to avenge her father. She's taken her son Anders and several warriors to kill the Kritch tribe leader Zoran. They do kill Zoran, but then a predator attacks the group, killing everyone but Ursa, who survives barely by falling into a frozen lake. In a water battle, the Predator stupidly fires a repulsor weapon upward, slamming him into the ground underwater where he is impaled. The second story, called The Sword, is in 1609 in Japan, and we meet brothers Kenji and Kiyoshi, who are being trained as samurai by their father. They're ordered to duel to determine the next warlord. The boys won't fight until their father starts to rescind his offer of status, then Kiyoshi attacks Kenji and cuts his face. Kenji runs away, and Kiyoshi becomes the next warlord. 20 years later, Kenji is now a ninja and returns to seek out a rematch against his brother. Kenji is the superior fighter and gives Kiyoshi a cut on his cheek just like Kenji got 2 decades earlier. But Kiyoshi accidentally falls from a broken handrail at a great height. That's when a predator attacks Kenji. Kenji finds Kiyoshi, who survived the fall, and the two fight the predator together. They bisect the predator, but Kiyoshi dies from injuries sustained in battle. Finally, in the third segment, called The Bullet, we go to 1942 and meet World War II fighter pilot John Torres. During an air battle, his squad is attacked by a predator spaceship. Torres is a quick study and learns the predator can only see heat, so he uses that to his advantage. While his entire squad is killed, he eventually tricks the predator into killing himself with his own weapon. But the final section of this movie is the battle, and all 3 survivors, Torres, Kenji, and Ursa, wake up in a cell. They're put in an arena on an alien world, and an alpha predator orders them to fight each other to the death. Their survivor will then fight the alpha. The 3 start by fighting, but eventually decide not to kill each other for the predator's amusement. Torres steals a predator's speeder bike, and they try to steal the alpha's spaceship. Ursa and Kenji fight the alpha while Torres fires up the spaceship, and the predators fire a chain to prevent the ship from leaving. But Ursa sacrifices herself to cut the chain and let the 2 men fly away safely. We then see Ursa was spared by the predators and is put into cryosleep, stored alongside other warriors who have survived predator battles, all being kept for some future hunt. As credits roll. And as we start, I gotta ask, which cut of this did you see? Did you see the originally released cut of this movie? Or did you see the extended cut of this movie that was released during Comic-Con over the summer?
You mean I gotta go to Comic-Con to see it?
Yeah, what does that mean?
No, it's on Hulu. They replaced the Hulu version with the extended version from the original version.
How would I know?
Yeah, what's the giveaway?
I actually took them into software to check for the differences.
Oh, no.
It's literally only a few seconds at the end. It's like a 10-second difference. But if you saw Danny Glover and Arnold Schwarzenegger in that last scene, you saw the extended cut because maybe they didn't have likeness rights or something, but they were not in the original ending of this film.
Okay, I thought I missed it. And I was so mad at myself because I'm on Wikipedia, obviously, reading the credits, right? And it says right there, Mike Harrigan, Dutch Schaefer. I'm like, I didn't see them. I saw the woman from Prey, but did I fall asleep? Like, I'm doubting myself for sitting here. Thank goodness this is wonderful to hear because I thought I missed something. So apparently I watched the original version of this.
I saw the extended, if that's what we're calling it.
It's what it's called. It's 10 seconds extended, but that is extended. So yes.
Yeah, so this movie starts off with a quote from the Wantia Codex. I can't pronounce that word, as if that's supposed to mean something to me. So what is this codex that I'm supposed to know, and this quote's supposed to mean something to me?
Well, it's a codex. A codex is a menstrual pad. This is a codex, which is totally different. It's
maybe not totally different, but...
Yes, just codex, excuse me, my bad penmanship. Am I supposed to know what this is?
No, this is like a Predator script, like the Predator Bible. It starts off in Predator text and becomes English, and I just think this is a Predator saying, which is why the date is like, it looks like it could be a date, but it's 0522/74, which I thought was May 22nd, 1974, but I think it's actually a Predator date.
No, but I think Brock's point is, what is a Yautja or Yulcha? I don't know how you pronounce it, but have we finally been told, we keep calling it the Predator, but these creatures are Yautjas, or what? I don't know. Somebody at Comic-Con can write in and tell me what vowel to elongate there. I don't know. We've never heard that before, as far as I can tell from my casual viewings of these movies. I'm not a student or a fan, so I think you'd have to go deep into the lore, into comic books and novels and things like that, in order to know Yautja.
Oh yeah, it's Yautja.
Oh, see, I knew it.
So there, it's Klingon for what they're talking about here. Yeah, right.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Already a bad taste in my mouth, but...
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of explains that, of course, these guys are macho, become the killer of killers. Kind of explains the subtitle of the movie. That the point is, you don't just kill anything. You find the strongest, toughest, baddest thing in the universe. By defeating that, you become the killer of killers. That is the point, is that they want to be top dog, alpha, whatever. Yeah, I mean, again, this just reminds me of people I don't like. Why would I want to hang out with the Predator?
I go with it because I see a real world analog. They're big game hunters, and it all goes back to that Richard Connell's old story, The Most Dangerous Game, of a hunter who got bored of hunting tigers and elephants and decided to hunt man. And that's what I always see Predators as. I always see this as the Predator has a 6-pack of Pabst in his spaceship. He's just out for a hunting weekend. He brought his camo and his lookout box and everything to just go hunting and then go back to his day Predator job, That's how I've always seen Predators, as they're the equivalent of American who goes and shoots deer or goes to Africa to kill rare animals because they can.
Right. They're weekend warriors is what you're trying to say. I have a big problem with what you just said, and I'll tell you what it is, and this is my big problem with the movie, and I guess I'll just say it right now. I don't understand, especially with an animated movie, why all 3 segments are human beings on the planet Earth. You are the Predator. You have technological capabilities to fly literally anywhere in the galaxy, and you keep coming back to Earth. It's a kind of a cool conceit, right? But I understand why in a live-action movie that would be expensive. To have all Predators and all aliens would be very, very expensive CGI. We're in an animated movie here. Why isn't one of these segments some sort of creature that we don't know, haven't seen before, etc.? Why is it always humans the Predators going after? What is it about the human beings from the planet Earth that these Predators think they have to keep going back to over and over again? Is it because they keep getting defeated by human beings throughout time? Is that what it is? They did not say that here. They didn't even breach the topic. All they said was 3 stories on Earth, different times, and that's great. But the big problem here is you have every opportunity to do something different here, and you're just doing it in 3 different time periods on planet Earth.
I don't mind it because I am human, and so having stories about humans and across our various cultures and across various times, I thought was interesting. I'm positive we're not the only game Predators hunt. We know they hunt xenomorphs. We've seen that happen.
On Earth.
On Earth. Thank you, Stuart. I'm just saying, look, I'm going to go with the movie. I'm going to watch the movie, and all 3 segments we're going to talk about it, but this is an overall problem I have with this movie, and I will say it in my conclusion again. Major missed opportunity.
I do think it's part of the theme, though. I mean, all 3 characters have a similar relationship. There's a parental angst, there's a personal demon, and the Predator comes to represent... They're human stories, and I think that was the point. We want to tell 3 human stories, and then we can have a big space battle at the end. But I think I would have a problem finding an end if we were battling weird tentacle creatures. Who to root for, Then it just becomes a Godzilla movie.
You can have a parental relationship, you can have siblings, you can have... One of these stories can take place between 2 different creatures that are not human. They can be humanoid. Predator's humanoid, but you can have it off of Earth. But yes, I see the themes, and I see what they're doing here, and I see why they're doing it. I just wanted one of them to be somebody besides human beings. But what they did do is kind of cool. What they did do is have 3 different time periods in Earth's history, which is they started doing with Prey, right? Because Prey they did pre-technology with Native Americans. It was really kind of cool that they started it there, and this kind of extends that. Going to planet Earth on different times and different technological abilities and different kinds of cultures to fight these human beings.
Yeah, the sample we get is they're not all going to the 20th century to have their fight. We'll start with Vikings. They're picking cultures that are known for their warrior skills. And clearly, as we get started here, that's our end. We're wanting to see Vikings. Are we ever rooting for the Predator? I don't think in any entertainment I've ever wanted it to win.
Alien versus Predator Requiem.
Oof. I wanted them all to die.
And actually Alien vs. Predator 1, in both cases, we wanted the Predator to defeat the aliens. And then there was it The Predator, where there was the good Predator that was helping out versus the bad Predator who was killing everybody. I haven't gone back to The Predator, but I know there was like good Predator, bad Predator in that one.
You get what I'm saying. We always want to root for the human in these stories. So, yeah, it's important that we like Ursa, who is a really angry grandma with a blood hand on the side of her face, telling what looks like her pipsqueak son he's got to kill somebody tonight.
And that's amazing that a mother and son have that kind of relationship. Son, it's time for you to grow up. Let's kill something tonight. I mean, if my mom said that to me, I'd be a very happy person. All jokes aside, I thought the cool thing about this was this mother, this Viking, is a badass. What I loved about this opening segment was, I don't know much about Vikings, but what I do know about Vikings, I want to look like this. This was awesome. They were violent, they were tough as nails, and my God, are they brutal. She takes out like 6 people on her own. It was just remarkable. I don't know how Vikings did stuff, but I want to think it's like this.
I found it interesting that in all 3 segments, they start with a foreign language, and then in 2 of them, they go to English, and the third is a silent film most of the time. But here, yeah, they start off with Nordic language, and then it just Hunt for Red October style switches to English so that we don't have to read subtitles this whole time. But I'm enjoying the setup, seeing a totally different situation here. And what this story does is keeps me in a little bit of suspense, because I thought this entire story was going to be about Anders, the son who has to become a man. It's a cliche, but here he is with his mother who's telling him this is your time to become a man and baptizing him in blood. I thought this was going to be his hunt, his story. We're going to see in a flashback how his mother, Ursa, lost her father. I thought maybe he would lose his mother in an echo of that. I did not expect this to be Ursa's story where a mother loses a son. I expected this to be Anders where the son loses the mother.
Indeed, she's even telling him, avenge me, the same thing that was said to her father before he died. She's expecting to die in this battle, and she wants him to continue on the tradition. This is, in some ways, just about breaking a mold. And yes, it's a more savage time. Each consecutive episode, pacifism and less bloodthirstiness plays more and more of a role. Here, this is all just about killing. And it's fine. There's some kind of base thrill to watching a grandma take a shield and chop people's heads off.
Well, that was so cool. The way they did it was they varied up the way they chop people's heads off. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, the first time you see a decapitation, you couldn't believe it. But by the 4th one, you're like, oh, I like the way they did that one. At the last one before the climax of the scene, before the Predator comes in, she puts the shield, her serrated shield, in between a door and the door jamb, and then pushes an enemy soldier into it, so his head just like comes off like deli meat in one of those slicers you have at Jersey Mike's. It was remarkable the variations they found of killing people and brutally cutting feet off and the blood splurting everywhere. Like, it was really graphically grotesque and at the same time extremely entertaining. It was kind of like Neo. I thought of Neo there for the first time when she was taking out all those people.
That said, I can't say that I'm rooting for her or anyone here. Like, there is a distance that I'm having from this culture and the whole conflict in general. It should be said that Anders is not instilling her with a lot of confidence. In the first battle, they leave one dude alive and string him up in a tree, and it's this boy's job to finish him off. And when the guy yells at him, I'm going to haunt you in your dreams, Mama has to finish the job. So there's reason to believe he's not going to be the one at the end left standing.
But I thought that was an arc. He couldn't kill here, and he would be able to kill later.
To avenge his mother. That's exactly where I thought they were going with it.
Yeah, she sits him down by the campfire and then explains, help me understand the meaning of this story. So she was a child in battle and her dad was near death. And this Chief Zoran is the one that, I guess, led the insurrection that killed most of her people. And I thought he was about to kill them both. but he's making the child kill her dad.
He's going to kill them both. He said the only way she lives is if she kills you. So you're basically creating a psychological torment worse than death by doing that.
Yeah, what she ends up saying is there's been this monster in her life born that day. And as she's telling this, of course, we see the cloaked predator ship fly above, and there's a predator in the tree, and we realize they're drawing that parallel that she's a haunted character. All these characters will be haunted by their interaction with their father, right? Childhood trauma is what we're really talking about here. And the predator comes to help alleviate that, or and sometimes exacerbate that. She thinks that she's preparing her son to avenge her and maybe free a generational curse.
And I think that is what's going to end up happening, just not from the son, but the cycle of violence, the avenge me that she got from her father, and then that she would pass to her son. You know, by the end, she's, I guess, had a realization that battle is bad or something. It's not really well explained, you know? I don't really see where her change of attitude comes in.
Yeah, it's not a particularly deep story. Yes, there's lots of blood, but it's still pretty juvenile. The point is not what's being said, but yes, the way that this small team storms this palace and chops off heads. And we get to Zoran, and yeah, he eventually remembers this little girl that acted like a coward and killed her dad. But he hasn't been thinking about it the way that she's been thinking about it. And I think it's important that Anders is the one that decapitates him. They don't really linger on that, but he has fulfilled, I guess, what she wanted him to. And because of that, he's now standing in the line of fire when the predator uncloaks and takes out all these Vikings.
While I think for the story, it was a strong move for Anders to take out the guy, but I really thought the mother was going to be like, oh, you stole this kill I've been looking forward to having all my whole life. Like, it wasn't such a strong thread that I thought that she'd be happy that he did that. But then to have him killed right away...
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that. We know that the temple goes down and a lot of people are being thrown around and bloodied, but it's not confirmed until the very last moment of this episode that she's lost her son.
Yeah. We see him die. He doesn't die right here at the beginning. But yeah, it was strange to me that Ursa's the one who gets knocked out by this Hulk predator. 2 of the 3 predators make me think of Marvel Comics characters. And the first one here is the Incredible Predator. He's kind of green. He's really tall. He's really muscular. And Brock, you said you have a problem with the fact that the predators keep hunting humans. Mm-hmm. I have an issue with a lot of various sci-fi franchises. Predator is now one of them, but Star Wars and Dune and any other sci-fi franchise that wants to tell stories that took place hundreds of years before or hundreds of years later, but the technology's exactly the damn same. Like, if you go to Knights of the Old Republic in Star Wars, thousands of years before Darth Vader, and they still have lightsabers and blasters and hyperspeed and all of the things. It's like, you know, I think about Yoda, who's 900 years old. Imagine living through 900 years of technology in human history. Here we have this predator, and this is 1,200 years ago, and he could still cloak, and he could still have all of these. He doesn't have the self-aiming gun, but he has a spaceship he can fly to Earth with. He doesn't have the super cool helmet, but he's got, like, a helmet that's pretty cool.
I mean, I get your point, but at the same time, it says something about their culture that they want to keep tradition going, right? You know, there hasn't been a whole lot of advancements in swords in all these years. I guess you could color the hilt this way or that way. But I think part of it is we want you to have the same weapons your grandfather, your great-grandfather used to hunt. I mean, the point is not to just kill a bunch of people. Sure, they could invent a bomb and take out Earth. The point is to use in the same traditional way. To me, that feels like a characteristic of a culture. We want things to remain the same.
Except the self-aiming guns and the nuclear arm pads do come up later, but they still have this cloaking technology, which is super fancy, and it's not like they're all using spears, even though Predator and Predator 2 had a spear. They have various types of weapons. you gotta mix it up, I suppose. And Dan Trachtenberg did say when looking at this, and I think this will also apply when we talk about Badlands next week, he wanted the Predators to be different. He said he was really disappointed in Star Wars when you went to Kashyyyk in Revenge of the Sith, and it was just all the Wookiees just were Chewbacca. Some were a little bigger, some were a little smaller, some had different colored hair, but they all looked like Chewbacca. He really wanted differentiation between members of this predator species. That's why we have Hulk here and why they're going to try to mix it up and keep it fresh with new weapons and new designs of helmets and things. But to me, it's weird because it's almost like time-traveling predators, because the humans are vastly different in their place and their capabilities, but the predator is all pretty much the same.
That's something I was thinking about too. We're seeing the predators go through time and save people from different points in time. Wouldn't this be easier if they did have technology to time travel? Wouldn't that be something that's interesting? A nice little twist that they don't keep coming back to Earth hundreds of years in between. They time travel. And that might be a little more interesting to me, instead of returning back to Earth over and over and over again, but travel through time and going back to Earth, because that's specific and intentional. That might be something a little more interesting to me, narratively speaking.
I don't know about time travel, but they definitely need something better than that heat vision, because it gets them in trouble every damn time.
Yeah.
All she's got to do is fall into a lake, and he can't see her. I mean, she's literally right under his feet, under the ice, but because she's freezing, she doesn't have a body temperature, and thus they cut to that classic infrared kind of look. And no, she evades his kill, and she can surface and have this big battle on the ice.
I think there was more to it than just the thermal, because he knew he was looking at something, but his helmet got damaged. It was kind of on the fritz, and it's after this that he's going to throw that little, I don't know, it was almost like a cowl, like a Batman thing that just covered his eyes and the top of his head, because he could always make his big jaw extend. It wasn't like the Predator in the first movie where you couldn't see it. So it definitely had sustained some damage in the fall. But yeah, she's underwater, and this is where the visuals are really getting me. It started a little bit earlier when the arrows were all firing at the Viking ship. I'm like, maybe there's more to this than stuttery cutscene and graphics. And when the camera pans up and we see Ursa underwater, she's smart enough to find this little pocket of air that she can inhale from, but she's under the ice, and we pan up over the ice and the Predator's on top. All the various waves under the water, and then the solidness of the ice, and then the clarity of the air above. I'm like, all right, there's some artistry going on here. Even if it's not as smooth as I like, there's real prettiness going on.
I don't love the look of this movie, I'll just put it bluntly, but it's okay. It's acceptable. And I do think that when they're in the heat of battle, that's when it's best. And this fight is pretty good. Arnie, you said that he blew the sonic cannon himself. First of all, have we ever seen that weapon before? I don't remember that they had sound wave producing machines on their wrists.
I thought that was like a battering ram thing also, too. I thought it was kind of a cool little dual purpose kind of thing.
It seemed like a repulsor thing, and I was also disappointed in this Predator's hunting skill, because when he's hunting Ursa, he just starts shooting everything. That's not a hunter. That's like, if you Tommy gun an entire forest and you happen to hit a deer, that does not give you skill, sir. And so here, when he's under the water with her, yeah, he fires at her, and she uses a shield to prevent her from being wounded too badly by it, and his own anchor is there, but he gets pushed down by that, right? I mean,
I thought she grabbed it and used it against him. I thought she had manipulated the weapon herself.
I thought she saw what the weapon can do, and she activated it. And when she activated it, she was able to be pushed away, and he basically killed himself with his own weapon because she triggered it.
Yeah, she killed him. I don't think he was stupid. I don't think he was that dumb.
Yeah, she triggered it.
No, I watched this twice. He fires at her, and she pulls up the shield at the last moment. She does not pull that trigger. He pulls the trigger, and because she has the shield at the last second, it pushes back on him. If she hadn't had the shield, it probably would have just blown her apart like it did other people. But because she raised the shield, that was her strategy, and it launched her above the ice and pushed him back into the ground.
At one point, she definitely grabs his hand and is messing with that weapon. Now, what she does with it and whether he fired, she fired, I took it as a heroic moment for her, not as a stupid moment for the Predator. Why would you do that? Why would you want the Predator to look dumb? To have her win by luck?
Yeah, the way I saw it too, Stuart, is that she was able to assess her enemy and use the weapons against him in a way that she could win and give herself safety. The whole thing, it was a very clever way to get out of a situation, so let's give her the props she deserves for that moment.
Yeah, I've just been really disappointed in this Predator the whole time. I just think this is not a smart Predator. This is Savage Hulk Predator who's smashing everything, shooting at everything, and not using much brain power in this hunt, which is why I think he dies as stupid as he hunts.
He is as savage as the Vikings. I mean, I think that's the point. They get smarter when humans get smarter. And, you know, she's pretty much bloodthirsty the whole time. But the point I take it, again, her story is, I've had this demon my whole life, my guilt about killing my father, wanting to get vengeance against this Zoran. This monster has plagued me, and now I've literally killed the monster. It should be a happy ending. But I guess it's an irony that her son, who she was so happy to lead into bloodshed, did not survive. This is when she returns and finds the body.
Yeah, not the body. He has to die in her arms. I thought maybe she'd have to mercy kill him. You know, she killed her father. Would she have to kill her own son? But he's just going to die and not say, avenge me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the culture allows for children to be traumatized. It's your time to be traumatized for the next 20 years, and I get to die. What a thing that I'm going to have to live with losing my father and my son. And her story continues. It'd be one thing if this was just the end and we never saw Ursa again, but of course, this imagery fades away, and I guess the trick pretty quickly. I imagine it's not hard to do if you've seen a Predator movie. She's on a Predator ship, and the people that are in this room have their own stories to tell.
It's a weird transition because she has the boy in her arms and then the boy fades and she's in that exact pose, but now suddenly I think she's older and she's on a ship and has a red collar around her neck and her outfit's different. It's like, did they use a transporter from Star Trek to get her there, or has time passed and she's just in that exact pose and reliving the memory? What's going on? But I didn't expect this to be anything except an anthology. What I had thought coming in was that this was 3 different stories that could have been 3 different episodes. So when I see there's a Japanese man kneeling in the background, I'm like, wait, there's crossovers?
I mean, it's what makes this a movie and not just a TV series stuck together. I mean, I think it's important that we see all 3 stories as unified in some way. He will have his own childhood trauma. He will have his own father issues. We'll find out about that in episode 2, The Sword.
Right, and especially after The Sword, and we get to start the 3rd story, and you see Ursa in the background when they get back into the ship, I started thinking, well, how is this possible from 2 different time periods? I was more interested in how they're both on that same Predator ship, and that's where I wanted to find out immediately after the 2nd episode, before we even get to the ending of this movie. I was really curious, how is this possible? So good for them finding a way, a little bit of a hook, as well as the glue that holds all 3 of these together.
But this is my favorite one. When you go to feudal Japan, it's just cooler to me than Vikings. I like this. 1609, we have 2 brothers that would just like to play with sticks. And would probably be happy just being kids if they didn't have a jerk father that was going to make them use real steel swords and fight in a traditional manner.
And this is my favorite segment of the movie. I think for the same reason that you have, Stuart. I just like samurai. I like ninjas. I like that it's mostly a silent film. Mm-hmm. And I had to get some of the relationships through inference that these 2 are brothers and this is their father who's training them. Like, is he just their sensei? I thought he looked like Michael Ironside a little bit too. So I was like, is he just a trainer? You know, because Michael Ironside was the trainer in The Next Karate Kid. I just put that together now. But it's...
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering where you were getting him. But okay, sure. Never saw that one.
But I like how this is just all told. And what I'm realizing is I like this little story well enough that if a Predator never came into this story, I still enjoy it for its art style, its action, and it's, again, kind of a cliche story. I mean, this goes all the way back to Cain and Abel, the two brothers who fight each other, but I like the look of this segment, and I like the story of the brothers.
The story itself here is something that I've seen before again, and it's told very well. I agree with you. The basically a silent film was really fun to watch. They kept you certainly more involved in a story that we've seen before. The son who becomes the ninja is incredibly skilled, and it's very entertaining to see how he handles himself. The son who became the ruler of the castle, you know, his limitations because of who he is, and we really do see the progression of characters. But you hit on something. So the son who took over the castle and how he's aged and progressed and maybe even gotten a little softer. I thought the character arcs for the two leads here were very strong, which makes this segment the strongest of the three.
And like Ursa, still trying to rectify what the father did to them, or their experience in childhood of their father. It's important to say that one really hasn't become the ruler yet. 20 years later, the father remained the ruler, but they had to burn him. He's finally dead. They can throw him on the funeral pyre, and you would think that Kiyoshi would become the ruler. That's why Kenji has come back. I'm going to have a rematch, and we're going to just see. You sliced my face when I showed you grace. I mean, it should be said, Dad tried to make them fight, and Kenji said no. Again, the first time we're seeing pacifism in a Predator movie. I don't fight. I don't see the need to be so bloodthirsty, and he's repaid by a brother trying to please a dad and drawing blood.
And I just love that Kenji is such a badass ninja, using the smoke screens and the black outfits and all of this stuff. It's just a lot of fun to watch as he comes through and is trying to stop the guards from ringing the bell. And there's some humor here because, like, one of the guards tries to swing that hammer to hit the bell, and Kenji puts somebody else's head in there. And then a different guard tower rings the bell, and the way Kenji just kind of sighs and drops one guy over the side. It's just, this is amusing, entertaining, engaging. This is good stuff, and there's not even a Predator on the screen.
Right. The bells thing was just hysterical because of all that work he did, and it was for naught. But that is exactly what I'm talking about. That this has all the elements that you want in a short story. The last one had some good themes, I guess, but here we have two characters that we can get behind and understand. It's just clearer. It's better, cleaner storytelling. On top of that, the killing is not as brutal because after a while, you know, how many more heads can you see cut off? Here, there's a variety of styles of how people are taken out, which makes it more entertaining to watch. You're curious about what's going to happen versus, oh yeah, this person's going to die. Oh yeah, that person's going to die.
Will they actually go through with it? I mean, I think Kenji makes his point just by making the same mark on Kiyoshi's face that was made on his, right? Once he scores that point, it's like, we could be done here. And it's just sort of serendipitous that the balcony railing collapses and he doesn't get to finish that fight. The brother falls out of the picture, literally, and he's left standing by this silk screen of his father. And wouldn't you know it, there's a silhouette behind it, making the metaphor complete. He has an image of his father standing by the river, opening his mouth, and a predator hand coming out. And sure enough, that monster that's in his head, that father that made them fight originally, is now the predator having a fairly awesome battle in the rafters.
Yeah, I love Ninja versus Predator. You know, I don't read a lot of the comics that are out there. And before Disney bought Marvel, I know there was Batman versus Alien and Batman versus Predator comics. And, you know, Batman retconned into being a ninja kind of fighter himself. This is the kind of thing I would want out of that. You know, I don't know that comic panels could give me this level of visceral action. You know, to me, the tiers are live action is tops, animation is second tier, and then comic panels are third tier as far as being able to adrenalize me. But this stuff is really great for me. This is my favorite fight of this whole movie, too, is just seeing this one-on-one battle. Although I feel like it's the least inventive Predator look of the ones we're going to see in this movie. He, at times, I thought, looked like just a Predator trying to be a ninja himself, the way he was hunched over on all fours, the way his outfit covered more of his body than the other Predators we're going to see. It felt very much like he was mimicking, mocking, copying what he was seeing done in Japan.
I think my favorite part of this was the cat and mouse of it. I really enjoyed how the ninja knew when he had to fight and when he had to run, when he had to hide, when he could score points. That was much more interesting to me than the Predator taking out, like, the soldiers, right, for example. The rooftop was extremely well laid out. Like, the way they utilized the rooftops and the sound and the angles, like, the entire sequence was well composed, which also really helped keep me invested in what was going on.
Yeah, we're all saying the same thing. This is really the hot shit. I don't know about the whole movie, but I'm recommending that you watch the second installment.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the ending of it, but the beginning and the middle of it, I thoroughly enjoyed. The ending when the brothers fight the Predator together, did you guys enjoy the climax of this one?
I did, actually. I like that when the brother who I thought died from that fall from the balcony isn't dead, and then he thinks the fight's continuing with his brother, but instantly when his brother shushes him and he realizes, oh, there's a bigger danger to be had. And then when the Predator brings out that chain, and I'm thinking ninjas, now I'm thinking Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, get over here! You know? And then when the two brothers see the leaf fall, and we started the segment with a quote. It wasn't from the Predator species. It was, the leaves of a tree grow side by side, brother, yet when they fall alone. And so seeing the leaf fall and land on the Predator, thus letting them know where the cloaked Predator is standing so they could cut him in half and work together that way. I'm liking a lot of this. I am thinking that the one brother who got stabbed through, I've never been impaled, but I'm guessing that hurts like a son of a bitch, and you don't just keep fighting at your number 10 level after being impaled. But
right.
It's a lot of fun to have here, even if, just like the first segment, we're going to have a lingering death after the Predator of a family member.
I mean, I think it's thematically important that the traditional expectations are challenged. Their father tried to drill in them that two leaves, whatever, but in the end, there's only going to be one ruler. And the fact that they only win by taking out the Predator together and by kind of returning to the play that they had when they were playing with sticks. You know, I'm not going to call this great drama, but it's drama. I mean, it allows you to see them as characters and not just a cool fight. It sort of elevates this from just being badass to being like, oh, I see what you're doing there. And then turning tragic when, yes, one brother does fall and the other appears on that ship.
I just didn't feel like it was a satisfying ending. Maybe perhaps it didn't land for me because I saw it coming, or maybe because the guy was as injured as Arnie said, because that kind of bothered me too, that I thought he was like mortally wounded. However, it's so cool how they figured out where the Predator was. It's so cool that they used that chain against him. It's so cool, it's so cool, it's so cool. But is the ending completely earned? It felt a little too pat. But again, I completely see what they were going for. I just think I was 3 steps ahead of them, which might have actually got in the way of me thoroughly being satisfied with how it concluded. I'm calling myself out on it. It might just be me.
Yeah, I mean, I think all 3 of these are pretty pat. I don't think any of them are going to blow your mind in terms of, wow, look at what they did with the drama there. But there is drama here, and I think that's what's commendable. It would have been very easy for this just to be a bunch of fight sequences, and they did aspire for something more.
I think this ending, too, also works in the Predator angle the best of the 3 stories, in my opinion. And it makes the most sense to have the Predator in this story in the middle.
And my thing is that, you know, when you have such short stories here, and each of these is only running about 20 minutes each, so all you can do in that time is rely on convention and cliche. You cannot tell a nuanced Shakespearean drama in 20 minutes. So, yeah, the brother against brother story. Okay, we've seen it, but that works as shorthand to tell here.
Yeah, not only that, but Shakespeare wasn't new. I mean, like,
right.
It's not in the things that happen that make drama powerful. It's in the way that it's presented, right? I mean, everything has been done. You know, that's the Shakespeare line. There's nothing new under the sun. We've seen it all before. It's how are you going to do it? I think they're really limited in part by this animation style. They can't act in the same way that when we watch a Pixar movie, we see characters act. And maybe that would help this next story. This is the one where the relationships are probably the most nuanced. We have a young kid who is trying to keep up with a crop duster plane. He's in Florida driving a car and watching a plane pass overhead, trying to go at the same speed and flooding his engine in the process. His dad is mad that he doesn't want to just be a mechanic. He's got this dream that he wants to be a pilot, and he's kind of poo-pooing on it as he gives him, I don't know, was there a draft for World War II? I didn't know that.
Yes, there was.
I always think of draft being Vietnam, but people seem to want to fight after Pearl Harbor got attacked. But anyway, he's enlisted, and he's happy to do so because he thinks, finally I have my opportunity to be at the cockpit of a plane.
And he's there with his father at the very beginning, right? And the father is chastising him that he can't fix a car, and you want to fly a plane, but you can't fix a car. I'm pretty sure most pilots are also not the mechanics. Otherwise, when I flew last week, why did the pilot have to wait an hour for the mechanic to come and get the bird out of our engine?
He's shitting on his dreams. That's what he's really doing. He's saying, I wish he would just work in the shop with me. Why can't you just be happy under the hood of a car? Why do you have to go chasing airplanes? That's what I got from that, is that he doesn't want his son to enlist and to have this fight. But since he's being drafted, it's not even really a choice.
But we see he is somewhat of a mechanic right away when he's trying to fix his own plane. He's not a very good mechanic. He doesn't succeed in fixing it, but he almost does.
That's what I mean. The nuances of this story, it kind of gets lost here. But is he good? Is it a bad plane? I can't really tell. The point is, this is the bullet, and it's not about guns per se, in the way that the sword and the shield were the weapons of choice. That's the name of this faulty plane that he's trying to get airborne. And his boss, which is the only voice actor that I recognize in this cast, is also, like his father, not wanting him to fly.
Yeah, Michael Biehn doing the voice here, and it's kind of funny if you count voice acting as acting. He's joining Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen as the third person to star in an Alien, a Predator, and a Terminator film.
Okay, yeah.
For the record, I count voice acting as acting, but I understand your point. I don't understand why Michael Bihn's character does not want the kid to fly. I was confused on that. Did you guys pick up why that is?
There might be a racial element. Torres has Hispanic blood, and Vandy and his white Texas aces seem to be white. You know, the military was not integrated at that time.
Is that what they were really going for? Or you just, because it wasn't entirely clear to me. So if it was a racial angle, it was a very light touch on that.
Yeah, I agree. I took it just as he was being hazed because he didn't fix his plane.
I think it works as both. I don't think they want it to seem any deeper than this kid constantly runs into walls when he wants to live his dream. That there is always someone there that is trying to stop him, and eventually he'll be the Predator. As it turns out, a plane comes back with a weird alien piece of metal stuck in it. And the pilot, bloody and dying, is like, there's hooks in the sky that are alive, and all the white pilots get to go up there, and Delgado and Torres have to stay behind and figure out what this weird metal really is. And I don't know what this is.
It's a gauntlet. Wasn't it his wrist gauntlet? That's what I thought it was. Like his arm piece.
Maybe. I called it a transformer in my notes. It starts folding in on itself and fires a grappling hook and pulls a propeller off a plane and flies away and sort of confirms that there's something in the sky. This pilot was talking about hooks in the sky that were alive, and now Torres knows there's a reason for him to fly now. They can't get a radio warning up to the pilots, and so he's got to get this junker plane, the Bullet, up in the air and warn them.
And this is kind of a nice character moment where he's sitting in the plane that, they aren't even sure if it's airworthy, and he's playing with the rudders and things before taking off. But he gets up there to send that message, and that's when the Predator decloaks. And this is my least favorite Predator fight in any Predator or Aliens versus Predator movie.
Hey now.
I know.
We all saw Requiem. Don't say that.
Well, did we see Requiem? I mean, that could be argued, but
yeah.
I just think that if you are a hunter, then driving a tank and shooting things is a different skill than hunting. And being a air pilot is a different skill than hunting. I don't see too many big game hunters jumping in airplanes and shooting their game from the sky. You know, maybe that's a thing and I just don't know about it. Maybe they go hunt eagles that way or something. But this is aerial combat. This is not a hunt. This is a fight. And that's different to me.
They had to have a better reason for the Predator to get involved, because I had the exact same problem you did. I did not understand why they had an aerial fight when you have a character like the Predator. What it could have been really cool, and this is going to sound silly, but wouldn't it be kind of cool if the Predator who came in with this vehicle took it for a joyride? Right? He was like an underage predator, if you will, who's not ready for his first kills, not ready for his rite of passage, and just goes out there with guns blazing. We don't get a scene of the predator's point of view on any of this. We're stuck with just the human side of all of it. We don't understand the predator's aspects. And on this one especially, it would have helped tell the story so much better if we understood exactly what the predator was doing and the reason he was doing it.
But I think it's a metaphor. Again, I think he represents the thing that is keeping Torres from the sky. He goes up there, all the pilots are gutted and pulled out or get this electrical lasso that makes their planes explode. Pretty much all the ace pilots are dead within minutes. I don't know if he warned any of them, but it really doesn't matter. He doesn't save anybody. And yeah, I think like all three installments, the Predator sort of represents this judgment of the father or this trauma of childhood.
Okay, it played better than the other two, and I'm getting a little tired of it. At this point in the movie, I'm like, get on with it.
And I didn't even get the whole father thing here. The father is such a brief character, just telling Torres he can't do it. And then the captain of the squad keeps telling Torres he can't do it. I didn't take this as a father complex so much as a person who's just put down by everybody.
No, but there's a picture of the father in the place where he was expected to stay, the place on the ground that his father wanted him to remain. He keeps a picture of that in the cockpit. He eventually gets the idea for at least partially how to stop the Predator from that whole flooded the car engine bit at the beginning. Again, it's strange. They're trying. It doesn't exactly work, but they are trying to say that what happened to him and his father has meaning in this dogfight.
And this dogfight, to me, is lackluster. The Predator blows up a lot of planes. We only focus on a couple of pilots. And then it's Michael Biehn and Torres. And Torres, he has this skill in this movie. It's funny he can't repair anything, but this guy can fly anything. Like, he's a freaking X-Men mutant whose power is I can fly anything I touch, because he will later be able to fly spacecraft that he doesn't know. And here he's going to figure out, oh, the Predator can see by heat. I get that Predators themselves see by heat, and they have their thermal helmets that see by heat. They are charting courses through the stars. They are going from galaxies. They're not moths drawn to a flame. They're plotting a course. They have to have something on that ship beyond freaking infrared. But okay, Torres is like, if we fly into the sky and turn off our engines, he won't be able to see us. And Michael Biehn, because I think he was hired for literally one day of a phone call, he's like, I'm going to kill myself now. I'm going to sacrifice myself so that this kid who I told wasn't shit anyway is going to be the last survivor, and he can take out this Predator.
Yeah, these are cliches that aren't working. I agree. Nobody's going to get misty-eyed over Vandy killing himself. That's what you expect to see in a World War II dogfighting movie. Somebody gives that, all right, kid, this has been real. Here you go. Here's your chance. Yeah, I don't think there's room in any of these stories to be emotionally moved. I don't think it's there.
And also, when Torres is walking out on the wing because his plane tire is on fire, listen, if Tom Cruise is legitimately doing this on a real airplane, that's really cool to see. Here, it's not exciting to watch, and I'm just thinking, this guy's a dumbass. He's walking on the wing of a plane that is in flight, hoping that the stick is there. It's kind of clever that he has to grab the rudder by hand to right the plane because he's falling off of it. But man, this guy is just stupid. I'm like, you don't deserve to be the one to live.
I mean, I think he's the clever one. He's the one that uses his head and does maneuvers that nobody else thinks of. I think you're supposed to think of him as wily and crafty and not needing to be bloodthirsty. I mean, keep in mind, he's not winning this fight because he's a shooter or can, he wasn't the one that was going to shoot down the enemy. He's a flyer. Yeah, he's a dreamer.
He's basically the brains, and he's fighting brawn, I guess you could say. But I agree. Once he got in the wing of that plane, I was checked out. I just thought I can only take so much of what I'm seeing here. And look, when he got on the wing of that plane, I kind of checked out because they're not going for cartoony stuff. And him going out in that wing of that plane, it's very cartoony to me. Only that happens in a cartoon. You don't see that in live action, and if you do, it's...
No, Tom Cruise would do it, but that would be exciting.
Tom Cruise would do it.
I do think he's a comic relief character because he isn't violent. I think that he ends up having a little bit more sarcasm and is a little bit more of the funny one, I think. Bad things happen to him, but he uses his mind to get out of these in absurd ways. I think that's supposed to be charming.
Okay, but you agree that maybe it didn't play that way.
Let me just boldly underline. I don't think any of these stories are that impressive. They're fine. They traffic in cliches, and sometimes, particularly in the second one, they have very well animated action of violence. As drama, they're coasting. I think this is the most strained of the three stories. I think this is the character we're supposed to like the most. He's the one that's the most contemporary, and he's the one that, of course, is talking a lot. I mean, we haven't had a lot of dialogue, and we haven't really needed to read subtitles or anything. He's much more verbal, and that's a trait they're using to draw us in. We're supposed to want him to win the battle, which he does by, again, flooding his engine and wrapping the Predator coil around the Predator ship after they've driven through. I don't know exactly where they are in the Pacific, what city they're flying through, or what exactly is going on, but it hardly matters. The point is, in the end, it was his craftiness and not a random bullet that took out this Predator. And that's why, whenever he gets back to Dad's auto shop, and I think it's the dad died, I'm assuming. He's not there.
It's so underdeveloped. I thought the father may have died before Torres ever even went to war.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going for, but the radio is playing If We Should Ever Meet Again, and a UFO is flying over the shop. And soon he's in that room with the Viking and the samurai, and we're going to get the battle they've been building up to, episode 4.
I was confused, though. We saw the alien spaceship pick up Torres, right? But how do the Predators, high command, know who these three people are?
Oh, Brock, you are stepping on a landmine of my anger. I really have so many problems with this. Okay.
Landmine of your anger. Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're having a deep emotional reaction to this at all.
Wow.
I'm struggling to have feelings about it, honestly.
Landmine of anger. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so intense.
Seriously, this undermines anything I've ever liked about the Predator. There's not much to like in Predator 2, but you know the scene I like? I like the scene at the end when Danny Glover is on the Predator ship and all those Predators decloak and Danny Glover's like, I'm fucked. And the Predators honor him. You are a warrior. You bested our clansmen. We give you this ancient pistol and let you go on your way. This is saying, what? Let me extrapolate this out to its most ridiculous. You have to publish a flight log and say, I'm going here, and maybe have body cam footage to say I fought this person and lost, and then other Predators are going to come along and kind of like the Road Rules Real World Challenge, they're going to have a best of the best championship, like the Jeopardy champion winners, where they bring back the people who won before to try and play again, but against their will, and keep them in cryo-freeze chambers for millennia until we get to this point. This is all so fucking stupid.
I don't know. I find it strange that you're having such a problem. It's essentially the plot of Predator 3, right? They all got the collars and got taken to an alien world to fight each other.
It's similar. In Predator 3, they had bombs under their skin. They didn't have collars like this. And they were all being hunted, though. They weren't supposed to fight each other.
Right.
They were just all released into the wild. And, the bombs under their skin never even really came into play that much. So here, Brock, when you were talking earlier about the predators going to other planets, though,
Yep.
you know what I thought was this scene in the arena? And if our listeners remember, I'm sure you do, Brock, and I'm sure you don't, Stuart. If the listeners remember Gennady Tartakovsky's 2005 Clone Wars series and the episode which introduced Asajj Ventress, where she was fighting against all these other aliens in this giant gladiatorial arena. I love the Gennady Tartakovsky version of that. I'd love to see that with humans and predators and xenomorphs and all kinds of other Disney-owned alien characters. Hell, throw a frickin' Wookiee in there, so...
Throw Stitch in there. I'll see what happens. Yeah, I understand it's supposed to be science fiction. It's supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to ask questions, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to appreciate.
But it still doesn't make any sense that these people who defeated our kind, were going to collect them so then other people can have a chance to defeat them. This is not honoring them. This is kind of like retribution almost. The fact that they're collecting all of these people for battling later on...
It is building a MCU universe out of a franchise that has really struggled to have two good movies, right?
It also undermines any victory before. It is Alien 3ing every character who's ever survived a Predator encounter, because now all of our survivors, all of our great warriors, they just come back later and abduct them.
Okay, you guys don't get it. It's so obvious.
What?
We have wanted Arnold back in the Predator series forever, and now he's too old to make a movie, so they have a story engine now that is going to allow them in a sequel to this movie to finally have an Arnold rematch. I do think 99% of the people that like Predator would like to see that movie.
Maybe, but again, when this first came out, Arnold was not in this movie. But yes, you are jumping to when they released the extended cut. Dan Trachtenberg said at Comic-Con, Arnold has signed off, take the character of Dutch and make more stories in the Predator universe with him. We will see Predator, Killer of Killers 2, The Return of Dutch and Danny, and get those two together fighting Predators. But it is still an awful way to do it. It's just a horrible way to ruin whatever lore has been built up over 4 decades of Predator films. Fuck you, Dan Trachtenberg, for this.
I understand Stuart's point of view on this, and I get what the fans are wanting. This is a way to get the fans to see what they want to see. All of that makes sense. From an economic and fanboy perspectives, all of this is crystal clear. I'm talking about, logically speaking, in this actual fictional universe, I think is just dumb. I don't understand why you all defeated our people. We can easily just kill you where you stand, or just like bring 2 predators next time and kill you where you stand, but we're going to kidnap you, put you in cryosleep, and then randomly select the 3 of you to go into an arena at the time of our choosing, sometimes thousands of years in the future or whatever. All of this makes no logical sense to me, because again, it's 3 humans in a damn arena. Why aren't there like 20 different things in there with tons of aliens and those 3 humans? Why don't you have a big group of people that the Predators lost to fighting against each other? Why only have 3 of these human beings?
Because they've only made 3 stories, because they didn't make a full commitment to this animated universe, because maybe it's not going to work out. In lots of ways, they're hedging their bets and seeing what the interest is. They've given us 3 little stories to get us interested in 3 tortured characters, and then give them a redemption to work together. It's not really that hard. I'm not a fan of WrestleMania, but I understand people get excited when Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and all of that jump into the same arena. And that's what they've done. The Predators want to see their heroes, the humans that have defeated them, for rematches. It's pretty basic.
I never thought of the Predators as being a Running Man-like TV show, reality show that other Predators sitting at home were scratching their ass and watching cool Predators go hunt humans. You know, I thought that this was, again, weekend warrior, big game killers, not orchestrated gladiatorial bullshit.
Holding grudges. Look, Stuart, what you're saying is completely crystal clear. You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just not happy with it, narratively speaking. I think it's pretty fucking weak, to be honest with you.
I'm glad they brought all three characters together. I can say that much. I'm glad that it wasn't three random stories and then they rolled credits. I think it means something more that we see, the Viking woman still wanting to be a Viking, still being bloodthirsty. Weird that they give her an axe when she was a shield maiden, and in the shield episode, she was pretty handy in killing people with a shield, but here, I guess, axe is kind of like a shield. And for whatever reason, he flew a plane called the Bullet, so now they're giving him the gun from both Predator 2, and it was introduced in Prey. There was the characters that had that gun in Prey. Raphael Adolini, if we must know. And then, I think the Japanese guy has learned something. I mean, again, this is why they're characters and not just cool violence. The Japanese guy is doing what he did with his brother. I don't want to fight you. I'm not going to play this game. I'm going to set down my sword, and I'm not going to engage in Ursa. And had they not decided to throw in a predator elephant into the mix, maybe Ursa would have killed them both.
I got another Star Wars feel off of this, and this is what I wondered if you saw, Brock, because when they introduce this beast, first of all, it's missing half of a horn, which the Reek in the Gladiator arena of Attack of the Clones gets half his horn cut off. Also, a Tauntaun had half a horn. But then the Acklay, the big green insect thing, kills one of the guards that's prodding it as it's being pushed out of the gate to go fight the Jedi in the arena, and it eats the guard. Actually, I think the Acklay impales the guard, and this one eats the guard that's poking it out. I'm like, I really think Dan Trachtenberg's doing an Attack of the Clone homage here.
I don't think a whole lot of energy was spent on this entire project. I think it is driven entirely by cliches and restaging scenes you've seen before. Absolutely. Nothing here feels fresh. The point is, we did it in animation, and we're giving you more Predator stories. Because, by the way, this series has kind of sucked, and it doesn't even matter that they have Danny Glover, because nobody wanted Danny Glover or that stupid Predator 2 movie.
So are you happy with this battle royale with the three humans against the Predator people here? Is this a satisfying conclusion? Stuart, you said you like the idea that they put all three of these people together to have a closing out of this story, these three people against the Predators. Do you find this last battle satisfying?
Well, I mean, they try to fulfill the character arcs. Ursa ends up seeing these boys as the son that she lost and maybe the father she lost, the men in her life that are gone. She's going to sacrifice herself so that they can live. The Japanese man is going to see this as his long-lost brother, and the guy that's wanted to fly is going to learn how to fly a spaceship and go into outer space. That's a pretty cool dream fulfillment.
I like the first two characters in this. I like the different fighting styles and the different moralities and ethics and experiences coming together. I think Torres is a total wash in this. You take this guy out of a plane and he can't really do anything. And I feel like you do want different energy. You don't want all three to be the same warrior, but Torres is absolutely useless. It's like throwing Urkel in there.
No, he's smart.
Well, Urkel is smart, but...
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, again, he is comic relief. I do think it's funny that he gets eaten, but because another Predator was eaten, he can take that wrist cuff and get out of the corpse and steal a bulldozer. I mean, if this were a live-action movie, they would cast an Adam Sandler type or something like that. It would be a foolish character. I think John Leguizamo was popping in my mind if we did this live-action.
And if it was made 30 years ago. But unfortunately, sorry, Bible absolutists, but there's no oxygen inside a creature's stomach. So even if you weren't chewed up going down, you're going to suffocate and burn in stomach acids really quickly.
Okay, you guys are really just trying to find problems. If you're now like, he wouldn't live through the stomach. I mean, it's a movie.
Arnie, so what would be a different fighting style that they could highlight besides the pilot, right? So we have a samurai, we have a Viking warrior. What other fighting style could they have put in here in place of the pilot? Because that's what I was trying to think of. What would be an appropriate other kind of fighter character?
You see, if you're going through and you're wanting a best of the best of people who have beaten predators in the past, Torres should not be on that list. He did not beat a predator. He got really lucky, first of all.
He outsmarted them. He used their weapons against them, which is the same thing Ursa did.
And the other part of it is I'm thinking like, here's several ideas that I come up with. You want different time periods? Go into the future and have a cyberpunk. Have somebody like Cable from X-Force who can, slide and teleport and fight against with different technology. Or you mentioned WWE, Stuart. Okay, throw Hulk Hogan in there. Somebody doing hand-to-hand. Put The Rock versus the Predator. You want to go a different way? Okay, let's go more karate as compared to samurai with swords. Get Steven Seagal in there with his double black belts, or Jean-Claude Van Damme to start kicking some predators. There's a lot of different fighting styles we could do, but Torres ain't it.
Okay, so here's my problem, right? I talked about this way earlier, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Wouldn't this be a wonderful opportunity to have one of those stories be not of Earth, and now you have the predators, you have the two humans, one Viking, one the samurai, and that third one be some sort of something that they taught us, or an alien world, or even a robot, whatever you just talked about, Arnie. It's my point exactly. You have a wonderful opportunity here to have the past and the future take care of this threat in that present. It just boggles my mind that it's three humans. Again, there's so many other ways you can go. To have this pilot guy did not work for me at all. I found that entire sequence boring. And then to have this be the climax to this movie, it was a major problem for me. I just didn't understand, if you have this entire sandbox now to play in, why you keep going back to the same places. This is an opportunity to bring back Schwarzenegger. Great. How about we go someplace else? Now you have the license to do that. Do it. It's driving me bonkers.
And they will, Brock. I think you're going to get what you want down the road. But just to defend Torres a little bit, it's a real basic thing, but it would be a different movie if you had three great guys kill all the predators and then are stuck on a planet. You have to have somebody fly a ship away, and Torres having the dream of wanting to be a pilot works well enough. And again, I like that he has a different energy. I think you needed to have a character very different from the other two.
I agree. I don't think a pilot's the one, though, especially a World War II pilot. You say they're going to get off the planet. When I think they're escaping, I am literally screaming at my screen, where the fuck are they going? How does he know how to navigate? He is going to run out of air before he finds a planet.
Oh my goodness. It's a movie, guys. It's just fun that they're going to fly into a new adventure and you're going to watch the sequel next year on Hulu or whatever they got planned, right?
Yeah, your idea of fun is different from mine. My suspension of disbelief goes only so far, and this movie snapped it.
Wow. Okay.
And the movie does end with us seeing the young woman from Prey, whose name is escaping me at the moment.
And everyone else. I remember liking Prey okay. I don't remember loving it. I don't remember much about it. And I will revisit it before we get to Badlands. But yeah, there's one Predator movie, and it's Arnold.
And I liked Prey a lot. I remember liking that very much, and I'm looking forward to watching it again. Still don't know her name. And then Arnie saw, and you saw the version of the two other characters there too. So yes, they are setting us up for a rematch for all times. Yeah.
All kinds of combos. Yeah.
But again, is that going to be enough? Is this movie going to be popular enough? Is this movie going to be what they need it to be for streaming numbers for us to get those sequels? Time will tell.
I don't want it. I really don't want it. I don't want this Danny Glover caricature-looking guy. I mean, you didn't see it, Brock, but these are bad-looking political cartoon-type caricatures of Danny Glover and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And yeah, I don't want it. But you asked if this was a hit. It was the top streaming film on Hulu for a while, and said that it was the third most streamed film in the U.S. the week it was released. So
whatever that means in this day and age, no one knows what a hit is anymore. I'm quite convinced of that.
But we know what a recommend is.
So Stuart, Arnie, do you recommend Predator, Killer of Killers? Stuart.
You know, it seems in this day and age, franchises are just pressured to create content. We get these placeholder sequels. We don't want to lose the rights, so let's just make something. Or, you know, we need something for a bonus feature, so let's just do a little something and throw it on the disc. Just finding new ways to reach new audiences and promote your pop culture characters by any means necessary. And, you know, I sincerely doubt that anything that we just discussed here in Killer of Killers will ever be brought up in a live-action sequel. It doesn't really matter. This is just a sizzle reel. This is just content used to hype people and maybe get animation fans who have heard of Predator but never actually watched one to be excited about the movie we're talking about next week. I'd say, judged as such, if I'm just calling this hype, I'd say the filmmakers have done a pretty good job of creating interlocking stories that have more care than you'd expect. All they had to really do was do cool battles, but they give us 3 characters with childhood trauma, processing their grievances over their father, Ursa Kenji Torres. And I don't think anyone will be moved by that. I don't think that this is drama that will touch your heart, but it's nice to have it here. Amid all the requisite carnage, it's nice that they tried to make a movie. And I've always felt like maybe part of the disconnect with Predator is that outside of Arnold, none of the characters in any of them are that involving, and this kind of continues that trend. I'm going to say Killer of Killers is for fans only, and honestly, I'm not much of a Predator fan. So if you have a soft spot for seeing space aliens engage in combat throughout human history, I think the movie delivers well enough. Sometimes when I get on this fence and I go, well, I didn't really like it, but a fan might, the calculation is, what did it do wrong? And honestly, my list is pretty short. I don't think it did anything wrong. I just don't think it was anything I was particularly in need of. But if you like Predator, it's more Predator. And I think it's probably going to be more violent than the movie next week. From what I hear, Badlands is PG-13. So again, if you like to see this space alien give you carnage, you're going to get it. I'm still waiting to see a great Predator movie. I've never seen one, and this ain't it. But at least it's a Green Arrow.
Arnie.
Yeah, to what you said, Stuart, I didn't want this. And you say, if you're a Predator fan, this is more of that. There's so much of that, though, that is just crap. And there always has been. I go back to maybe even the Star Trek novels that were shoveled out by the boatload in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think they still are. But books, comics, all this tie-in merchandise, they just shit down fans' throats. Star Wars is as guilty of it as anything with that Clone Wars TV show, and now so much Disney stuff, and Marvel's doing it too. Content for content's sake. It's not a new thing. You mentioned keeping the rights. I mean, Hellraiser was doing that shit in the 90s, so it's not a new strategy to just churn out product for business reasons instead of creative reasons. But yeah, I wanted no part of this. I didn't want an animated tie-in expanded universe Predator anthology. This all sounds like poison to me. So, one day before this recording, I sit down to watch it, and I probably clawed the walls trying to not go into my home theater to watch it. And, within 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, this is not bad. Didn't expect much, but I sort of enjoyed the Norse part. And then the Japanese part came in, and I'm like, all right, shit. This is really good. The Japanese stuff, I got drawn in. I cared about the characters. I liked the fights. I actually enjoyed animation fights, which is really rare for me. And then we got the Torres section, which I just felt was overstuffed, not very exciting. And then the end, yes, it pisses me off that whatever lore they have established for the Predators, they have completely undermined here. But there is also just some very mild enjoyment in the 4th segment of this. So what I had to do was basically put them on the scales. Segment 1, weak recommend. Segment 2, strong recommend. Segment 3, not recommend. Segment 4, I don't really give a shit. But at that point, we already got a couple of recommends in there. So yeah, it's going to be a weak recommend for Predator Killer of Killers. And I'm surprised I like it as much as I do, even if I have a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, I thought you weren't going to kill the director. You were angry there.
I'm still angry about what they've done to my Predator.
Yeah, you say it ruined the franchise, but you recommend it is a strange thing to say.
I hate what they've done with the characters, but I enjoyed watching this story. I dislike what it retcons from all the previous movies. I think it shits on their legacy, but that doesn't mean this isn't entertaining to watch beyond that.
I'm not a huge fan of anthologies at all. I've mentioned earlier, I don't even care for short story compilations. I find it very taxing to read short stories. I mean, I can watch TV shows. I'm fine with those. For some reason, that works for me. The episodic nature of that, I can deal with. But anything that's presented like an anthology, for whatever reason, I have trouble with it. My brain does not enjoy the disconnect. And what this movie does is tries to string 3 completely separate stories together at the end. So yeah, a good way to go about this is, do you enjoy the individual segments? The first one I sort of liked for a while. I liked what they were doing. I thought they had some pretty good ideas and what an interesting thing to do. The second one I really did enjoy very much. I've seen stories like that before, but they did this one with such style, grace, and such beautiful imagery that I really enjoyed it. The third one bored me to tears and really stopped the momentum of the first 2. And then the last arena fight thing, I think I've been very, very clear about how I was very unsatisfied with the direction that took. But here's the biggest problem I have on top of all of that, is that while Stewart made the wonderful point that the Predators are standing in for a literal beast, where the metaphorical beasts that these characters had to overcome, then it became a literal beast that they had to overcome. I think almost all 3 stories, especially the first 2, you don't need the Predator element at all. The Predator part of it was kind of a coda to the first 2 especially. The third one, I don't understand the Predators, why he was doing the things the way he was doing it. Would we have watched those 2 first stories if it wasn't connected with the Predator? No, we would not. But it doesn't seem like the Predator was an integral part. In fact, the Predator was watching these people do all these things and then decided, oh, I'm making a step in now. I didn't understand why the Predator went in when he did go in. I don't think this is a very strong way to present Predators. Additionally, why didn't the Predator win one of these? These Predators are supposed to be really good at what they're doing. How often do we see a Predator win? Doesn't make much sense to me either. So a lot of stuff here could have been easily fixed if this was more focused on, why are we making a Predator animated movie? What is the point here? Because what I'm seeing is they're telling us the Predators, these highly advanced, wonderful fighters, always just go after humans and always lose to them. When you have an opportunity here to have a galaxy worth of stories, and if it is, say it's robots, right, from planet Zebulon or whatever, the Predator can then beat them, and that would be interesting to watch finally. So I found this entire thing very frustrating. The more I started thinking about it as I was watching it, the more questions I had, more questions, and that is always a bad sign for anything. So I'm going to say, no, this is a red arrow from me. I love the animation. I thought some of the stuff, the technical stuff here was wonderful, but the storytelling here was head-scratching. So no, I can't suggest anybody watches this.
Does it get you excited for next week? Because we're getting a real movie, a live-action movie that, frankly, looks like it will finally make the Predator the main star, right? Like, it's about a Predator. Although, again, I'm there for the human people. You cast Elle Fanning. That's the reason why I want to see the movie. She looks like she's doing something really fun in the trailer.
I have seen this trailer by mistake because I keep seeing other movies and they keep showing the trailer. And the trailer looks great. The trailer makes me want to see this movie and think maybe they got a Predator movie right this time. But of course, I said the same thing about the Topher Grace one, right? I said the same thing before about other Predator movies. So hopefully this one has the goods that makes it an enjoyable movie.
Hopefully you're not too hung up on the human in your human drama, Stuart, because the reason that they got PG-13 is there's not a single human in Badlands. So
yeah, she's an android. No, they tell you that.
They were able to do a lot of violence on non-human things, but yes, not a single drop of red blood shall be shed next week. And what does that mean? I don't know. You know what? I still really like Prey, so I pray that it's going to be as good next week. I said Prey deserved a theatrical release. I thought it was a shame that in 2022, when theaters were open again, that they just put that out on streaming. So I'm glad to get another theatrical Predator experience from the creator who made, one of the best Predator films ever, and then this one.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Prey again, and probably the Arnold one again, and I'm not going to watch any of the other ones. I'm curious to get back into it. I'm hopeful that this could be one of the good ones. But in the meantime, we'll be returning to Oz after a couple weeks off with Return to Oz, a Disney attempt at bringing us to the land of enchantment that wasn't very enchanting in 1985, but I've been always very curious about. It was a notorious bomb I never saw, but maybe has a cult reputation now. Maybe there was a reason people weren't ready in the 80s for what it was going to do. I don't know. I'm very curious about why people didn't want to go back to Oz with, Walt Disney, the purveyor of children's entertainment. What went wrong? Should be a curious dissection.
I have wanted to see this movie, no joke, for 40 years. I remember its release, and we'll talk about it on that podcast this Friday, but I'm excited after 40 years to finally see this thing.
It has an amazing following. People who have seen it when they were children. I always think of it kind of like the Never-Ending Story. Those of us who watch Never-Ending Story, a lot of kids love that. I think people who have seen Return to Oz have that same kind of feeling towards that movie as I might have for the Never-Ending Story. So we will see how it holds up. We will see what we all think when we return to Oz this Friday. And if you're not already a patron to listen to that show, please go over to our website and you can hear the show if you're a gold level donor of Now Playing Podcast. And so until then, I ain't got time to bleed. Thank you for joining us for this episode in the Predator Retrospective Series.
This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
Come back to NowPlayingPodcast.com next Tuesday for another all-new movie review podcast.
Come on in, you fuckers. Come on in.
Want more reviews like this one? In the archives section of NowPlayingPodcast.com, you'll find more than 1,000 in-depth movie reviews where we cover such series as Terminator, Rambo, RoboCop, The Avengers, Alien, and Transformers.
This is getting better by the minute.
Venganza Media Incorporated is not affiliated with, and this podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by any entity that created the film analyzed herein. All movie clips and music included in this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. They are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.
I don't think he gives a shit.
Now Playing is a Venganza Media production, copyright 2025, and no part of this show may be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated. All rights reserved. Now Playing Podcast is an exclusive trademark of and may not be used without the express written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated.
I ain't got time to leave.
Now Playing is edited by Heath and Arnie.
I wouldn't wish that on a broke dick dog.
And see and pay top ticket price for. It just isn't that good.
It's probably best than War of the Rohirrim.
Which also shouldn't have gone to theaters. But great popcorn bucket. Still one of the best popcorn buckets I've ever seen.
Huge. I mean,
yeah, it's certainly the biggest.
Predator can keep up with that by doing the whole, life-size Predator spear, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm curious of what Badlands will do. But before we get to Badlands, that's next week. What do we call him? Yout? No, I'm going to just call him Predator.
Predator.
Yautja, whatever. Globra, whatever.